Hey everybody, it's Stever82 and I'm here today to do my giveaway and new video that will be another giveaway of 1000 dark crystals. And the reason I do this is to hopefully help some new people. So this last post was talking about the Splinterlands tournament, the way they changed it. It also showed you the report card, and the report card was able to also help me show you how much money I make for playing the game each month. And it was kind of fun to do that video. I was a little disappointed that I only got 3 people to enter, but the good thing is 2 of them are brand new players, and another one I think is a newish player. So at least it's hitting those people who are entering the giveaway. But I do hope to see more community members check out the video and get into this. So we're going to go ahead and do the giveaway first. I like to do that live on the video. It does make it a little harder if I mess up in the rest of it because we'll be messed up, but we'll go ahead and just end it here. So we got Rondon Sheezy. He's actually won a few of my giveaways because he's been pretty active in them, which is fine for a new player. I like to see new players trying to do that. So we're going to go ahead and send him his 1000 DEC. I like to see these new players get a little boost. It's hopefully able to help them. So we'll do that first. And then we're going to get to the first part of this video. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about today is the 9th Untamed airdrop card. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about lands, because those are the 2 things I want to touch base for in this video. If you want to be entered in the giveaway, it'll be in the chat that you need to make a comment either about what you think about the new card or what you think about my thoughts on land. Obviously, the land stuff you'll have to hang out for the whole video, but most of you should be able to give some feedback on the new card, even if you don't watch much of the video. But I'm not going to tell you exactly what you have to do. You're going to have listened this far into the video, which is only 2 minutes, so I think that's not asking too much for a chance to win. Okay, so we have Beatrix Iron Hand added to the game. This card is one we weren't expecting because we thought we'd be getting our legendary Dragon Summoner card, but that card, due to maybe some balancing issues, I forget what exactly they said. They might have said in this post why, but they pushed it out because they just weren't quite ready to release that card. So that's going to now be the next card. The good thing for anybody who was hoping to maybe get a few more packs to make sure they got at least 2 of those, you get a little more time. And now we get this new card for the Earth team. The Earth team is one of the stronger teams. So to see Beatrix come out, and she really fits into 2 of the stronger summoners that get used with Earth, is like, oh boy, Earth is just going to keep on beating me up, right? So we'll go ahead and look at the stats of the card right now, and then we'll go over it. So this is a 6-cost card. At level 6, it'll have 4 attack, 4 speed, 6 life. All pretty solid numbers for a 6-cost monster. And then it has Thorns and Cripple. So Cripple's kind of an ability that I've played a little bit with the 11-cost monster for the Death team. I haven't really seen it kick in anything really cool, but I've heard it's supposed to be kind of cool once we get into boss fights, because the boss fights, being able to remove an HP from them will matter more than I think it does when we play other players. So it's kind of interesting whenever you see a monster with an ability that you're like, yeah, that's kind of cool against maybe self-healing monsters or monsters with scavenge to counteract them from getting a lot of HP. It's not always super useful because if the other team doesn't have a healer, it doesn't really affect them, but it's an okay skill. Thorns is interesting on a ranged monster when you think about it at first. Doesn't seem that good because they're not going to get hit as often by melee monsters, right? They're only normally a ranged monster would only get hit by melee monsters if it was a sneak monster. Otherwise, it's going to be getting sniped by other ranged monsters, sniped by magic monsters. More often if it gets hit early game. Obviously, late game, when they fall into the first position, that all of them are going to be able to be hit. So then it would be kind of nice to have Thorns on your ranged monster, but it's an interesting choice until you take into effect that they have the new ability, which is Close Range. Close Range makes it so this monster will always be able to attack in the front row. This means that you can now set up a lineup where you could use a tank, a melee monster with reach followed up by Beatrix and have 3 monsters in the front that all can still attack if they get moved into the front row. It also means if you played her with something like Llama and put her in the last position and she ended up being your last card on the board, she would get an extremely big buff and still be able to attack. And that's a nice thing whenever you're kind of making your lineup and you put that range monster in the last spot. You're like, oh man, if it really ends up being my last card on the board, I'm just going to lose. I'm going to die, and that's a bummer. Now, the point I was making to why this card may help the Earth team is because of the Prince. So Prince Ryren, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. He is one of the most devastating summoners in the game. I don't have him. When I run into him, I almost want to cry. There's some real ridiculous teams already, and this just gives him one more tool to use in those higher mana matches. The other card it works with, which I do have, so I will use this card sometimes, is when you do the Selena Earth combo. They have quite a lot of ranged monsters that Selena Sky just works really well with that team in general, especially with the new troll that came out in Untamed. He's a 8 cost with big attack. Now you got a 6 cost with big attack. You throw in the fact that they have the Earth Elemental and the Swamp Thing on the smaller end, all with ranged attack. It's a really fun card to add into that, just the ranged lineup that are not snipers, because some of the other ranged cards that are in the life team are snipers. And if you didn't want to go snipers for some reason, or maybe it's a game where snipers everyone's a sniper game, so you'd rather have a big monster with more attack, this card will be really cool. So that's kind of my feedback on the card. I think it's pretty cool. They explain the drops here that, you know, you're going to get one on average. I think it was something like 65 packs because it's only an epic card. Let's see, get it on the airdrop. Let's see if I can find that for you. No, I don't see that right here really quick. Oh, here it is. So you get, yeah, 1 in every 65 packs. So I think in theory I should get about 12 of them with how many packs I've bought. But obviously 12, that only gets me at level 3. So we'll be watching the price action on this on day 1. They usually start out very, very expensive. As lots of people are buying them, it ramps up a little bit as people are trying to max it out quickly. And then sometimes they go down a little bit, and then they settle into a relative price. So I'll be watching the market to see if try to catch some of the ones of people who are just dumping it quickly, because they usually sell it cheap. When it starts to fly up, I'll probably slow down. I'll probably look to get it right here at start to level 4 to get that extra HP, and just because 20 is a nice round number where I only have to buy a few more. And then I'll be looking to get it to level 5, but really I'll be looking to jump straight to level 6, because level 5, this skill to me isn't as important right away, but that 4th attack is really important for anybody who's playing at the high levels like I am at this point. So now let's go ahead and go talk about land a little bit. Now I'm going to preface this with, this is nothing that I'm not a member of the team. I don't know anything special. I don't have any inside information from you guys. I might even have less information from you. I did catch the last AMA where they talked a little bit about lands, but they haven't really decided what they're going to do. As you see, I do have some lands. I bought 2 tracks and I got 25 plots for free for staking dark energy crystals in the Uniswap pool. I still have some dark energy crystals staking there, so that's kind of cool that I can come in here at any time and get some Uniswap rewards. That's my address if anyone wants to send me anything. But you know, that's what I'm getting about a day, 800 DEC for what I have left. Basically, I staked close to 2 million DEC at the beginning. I took it out when the first sale hit. I was in a pool that was buying a region. We didn't get it, but we were guaranteed in the next one. They got re-staked by the pool team, and then now I have maybe, I think, like 200,000 left that are sitting there, and I'm just going to leave there just because I don't really see a need to claim them and pay all the fees to sell that little amount. And they're sending me more, so it's just like I'll just take my share, and I might even add more to the Uniswap pool to keep that pool good and heavy, because that really, really helps the deck price. Because as Ethereum moves up, this is just a little tip. As Ethereum moves up, it automatically moves the value of DEC in the Uniswap pool. So sometimes the Uniswap pool's price, if it becomes worth enough more than we're selling it on Hive, there's an arbitrage opportunity that somebody takes up and they buy it all up on Hive just to go dump it on Uniswap and get the Ethereum because they can make some profit in doing that. And if somebody does that, then we get that price boosted into the Hive pool when somebody does that big buy to go and dump, or from the Steam engine as well, depending on, you always got to watch the prices of DEC anywhere. So getting back to something I've seen some people, talking about is that land is selling cheaper than we thought. And I wanted to give some feedback on why I thought it is selling a little bit cheaper. For starters, you have players like me who maybe bought a track or bought a legion or bought some plots and took advantage of the Uniswap pool and got some free plots. I absolutely could sell those 25 plots that I got there, and I could sell them for much less than $20 per plot, much less than even $10 per plot. I could probably let them go for like $6 per plot, and that's what you're seeing, right? And I know plots have been doing a little bit better than that. And somebody was saying that a tract recently sold for 5,000 Hive, and that is a lot less than a track cost in the pre-sale, or now that tracks are just in the world and you'd have to buy them with the only discount being the discount in when you move your dollars into the dark energy crystals. There's just why, right? Why did somebody let that go so cheap? Now, obviously, that could have just been one person that got into the land, didn't realize it was going to last a year, possibly before we were going to be using the land. And so they just got out of it and they ran away. I think that they're making a mistake there. If you don't need to sell your land, you might want to hold on to it, because right now it's selling less than they sell it for. So it's not, if you're selling it less than they sell it for by like 50%, then you're setting yourself up for an opportunity to lose some money or miss some profits that you could have been making off these lands, in my opinion. And that's because once it's out and once we can see what it can do, and once we see what cards are craftable and what items are craftable and how those craftable items affect the game, that is when we'll finally know the real value that land is going to be given by the community that plays the game, and how many people are going to be wanting it. Now, there's a possibility that there are going to be some very powerful cards for the gameplay, because we don't even have the mechanic right now where people are allowed to play spells. It's not even in the game, so we don't fully understand yet how much that's going to affect the overall game. We don't know what items are going to do, but I think we can kind of guesstimate some of the things we might be able to do with the cards. There might be a spell called Snare, where you can take flying away from a monster or flying away from an entire team. That might be a little too powerful. There might be cards like Reflect or Shield that you can give a monster who doesn't have Shield, or Magic Reflect, or Shield. So you can get into a game where all of a sudden you see all the other monsters have magic, and maybe you're allowed to give your team or some of the monsters on your team the Void ability and Magic Reflect if you have those spell cards, which would completely change that match. Some of the items you might see might do similar things: increases to attack, give a monster piercing. Those are some of the things that I just imagine they're looking at, because they're skills and abilities that are already in the game but monsters don't have. I could be completely off, but it does seem to me that the idea of the second phase of the game is going to be like, oh, look, this is the matchup. You thought, at this matchup, one team had an advantage, obviously. Now we'll see what happens when somebody goes ahead and plays their spells or equips their equipment, and now the battle actually happens. And so it's going to give us a chance to maybe find a way to beat some of those teams that are really, really hard to beat today. Or it's going to change you from a team that you made that was just like, man, this was a bad matchup, but maybe you have the spells and equipment to turn it into a more even matchup, and now the battle goes a little bit better. Also, I imagine that some of these cards are going to be very, very useful when we get into boss fights and guild battles if you have them and other people don't. So that's one of the things that I think gives land this opportunity to give players a way to create cards that we really don't have a lot of information on their power, but we do kind of have some kind of idea in our mind, I believe, of how many that they're going to be needed. And since they're only going to be made by us, it's not going to be as simple as somebody opening up a pack and getting these cards, or somebody rich coming in and buying, you know, thousands of packs. It's going to be players having to put monsters and items and mine thousands of, you know, the resources to just mint, and then mint one of the cards. And then if we go anywhere at all by what they do nowadays to level up a card, you know, one untamed card, it takes 400 of them to get it to level 10 at common. So a common spell, could it also take 400 of them to get it to level 10? If so, you're talking about if one of the common spells is really good, and even if there's a lot of us crafting them, how long would it take us to make 400 copies of said spell? This is speculation. It could be way less. It could only be 40. They could be cutting a, you know, it could be way different. It could be none. Hopefully it's not none, because we can theoretically always mine for resources on our land and always create cards. So there needs to be some kind of sync mechanism for these cards we create. And so I'm guessing it's going to be in leveling them up. I don't know if they'll have a burn function. Maybe they'll have a burn function once you get them to the max level. That could be something that they could look into doing to make sure that we always had some use case for the cards. But this is just some thoughts I had on the whole land thing. I've seen some people in the discussion. I think some people are overall a little bit disappointed in the prices. We'll take a quick look at those just as quickly as I can. So if we go on Hive Engine and we look at plot, so that's up to 11 now, so that's looking a little bit better. We're getting past kind of the pre-sale discount for those individual plots, so I'm glad to see that. I don't think the track token, though, see, this is only at 600 when this is 100 plots, so you'd expect that to be over $1,000, but that's really just because there's not enough people out there trying to buy 100 pieces of land right now, or buy a tract. And, you know, this is a $2,000 item from them. So, or do they sell it for a little bit of a discount? Let me double check. I don't remember if you get some kind of discount if you go to buy a track. One track equal. No, yeah, you do. It's $1,700, right? A plot's $20. So if you want to buy, and then you'd get a little discount if you bought $1,700 worth our 1,700,000 dark energy crystals to pay for this. That wouldn't necessarily cost you exactly this much money, but we're still pretty far under there in the value that we're seeing for the tracks. So at this point, I won't be selling any of my tracks. I'll be waiting to see what happens. And other than that, guys, I just hope you have a good day. I hope if you're playing the game, you're enjoying it and you're not getting too upset over any part of it. We always knew that we were buying a land pre-sale, I hope, and that we were going to have to wait a while before we really got to see what this was going to do. I'll be trying to grind my way up here to Champion 1, so if you see me and you want to give me a win, thanks. But I don't expect that to happen, guys. Everybody have a good day. Bye.